Hello, everyone, and welcome to Worlds Collide, the Final Fantasy VI randomizer. My name is Dr. DT, and I'm here with Drinks Glue. We are here tonight to um, participate in this race between Jexfrock and Nobody War, who are competing in a Chaos Crawler, and we'll tell you more about that, as a submission for Summer Games Done Quick.
Yes, indeed. Nobody has run more Chaos Crawlers than Jex Rocks, than Nobody War. So they know their way around a dungeon crawl very much so, and really looking forward to it. They've had quite a rivalry this past year with this mode, and yeah, should be a good one tonight, my friend.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. Um, and I say that as the coder who came up with Chaos Crawler in the first place. Not to toot my own horn, but it's been a great pleasure to watch these two and other members of the community putting this mode to the test. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we get tonight.
Yeah, we were taking a look at some of the flags, some of the chaos flags that rolled in. Jexy's actually got a few of them on the screen, but we got normalize and distort. Fixed encounters have a 26% chance of having a boss. There's no multi-summon. I think I said normalize and distort is on. Looks like it was standard item rewards. Chest 40%. Monster boxes are not shuffled, so the offering, unless item randomization or drop randomization was turned on. We know where the offering is. However, we really don't know where anything is because in this mode we are shuffling all of the doors, not just to various towns, but to just about everything. So we're not just looking for a door, we're looking for, doors, if so to speak. But yeah,
That's right. Yeah, so Chaos Crawler is a combination of chaotic flag choices with dungeon crawl mode. So we'll get into that more, but it looks like we've got ourselves a Yeti to start with. Jexfrock on the left, going straight to checking the shop on the airship. This is a shop where they know where it is right off the bat, and they've got a ton of starting money, so he's stocking up here in order to have the resources he needs to proceed. And it looks like we've
yeah,
got ourselves a jump setzer as well.
absolutely amazing, top shelf, beautiful starting party. Jexy making a great heads up play. Like the airship is like pretty much the only thing that's obviously gonna it's going to be a constant throughout the seed because as you travel through various doors, if you go in one exit, you come out another one somewhere in another part of the map or another world, actually, the airship will travel with you. Great heads up play there by Jexy to hop on in, get in there, and then, get some of the items that happen to be in the one shop he knows is always going to be there.
Yeah. Also, Jex, taking a look at the starting espers, looked like we had a Bahamut with a strength +2. That's going to be really key starting up from level 3. That's going to be a very strong setzer by the end of the game.
Yep.
We are open world in this flag set. Dungeon crawl is always open world, so Jex runs to the Velt, picks himself up a free Cyan.
Yep, great. Another great heads up play. Looks like Nobody War stream is down for the moment, but we'll get that back up as soon as we can. But yeah, open world means character gating is thrown out the window. So things like the belt. If we happen to come across some of the free towns, I know we start with Zetzer, so you're kind of inclined to go to Collagen right away to get that free check. But with open world, it doesn't matter. If we find
You would love to go to Kolingen if you can, but you got to
yeah,
find
but
it first.
yeah, we just gotta find it. Well, we have to find the town because the towns, the dungeons are all interconnected, so we can walk through the Narsh Mines one door and end up in Vector in another door in the Magitech Research Facility, and you see just right there, Narsh is actually a room on a train today, so
Narsh is an empty room.
that's actually fortunate because now that's a nice thing to know that like Narsh is just a dead end, because it kind of like limits some of the things that you can have to look for. That's another great dead end because now it's just two things off the world map. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. Hey, Glue, did you get a peek at what this Cyan is? What skill Cyan has?
I did not. Um, we had we had jump on Zetzer. Yumaro obviously is Yumaro. But yeah, we missed the Setzer ability. I mean, excuse me, the Cyan ability.
Yeah. Well, we'll see it sooner or later here. Jack's starting his world tour. 3 checks so far, 3 dead ends. Maybe he'll get lucky here.
Yeah, and this is pretty much what we're going to see a lot of for a good portion of this is bouncing around through the various worlds or the
Aha.
various hubs on the map. And we found a hub. So what do we mean by a hub? A hub is basically one town or one dungeon on the world map we can walk into. And then from that various point, we just find places with a lot of doors. Like the Phantom Train right here is a pretty good example because there's a couple different ways in some of the carts you can go left or right into those doors. And each one of those doors will be a different spot we can go into and maybe find, another hub. And the more hubs you find within a hub, the larger that space can kind of sprawl out. And to find like a hub like this is huge if we can just kind of keep building off of it. Because at some point in time in those hubs, you run into the end of a check, and we run into the things we need to beat the game.
Yeah, so I believe this particular Phantom Train room has, I think, 8 different exits on it. So you can really branch out quite quickly into the dungeon. Maybe I should talk a little bit about dungeon crawl here while we've got some battles going on. So in dungeon crawl mode, this came out of generating a door randomizer for Final Fantasy VI here. Everything else was being randomized in Worlds Collide, so we went ahead and dug up the data and started trying to randomize where the doors go to. So in dungeon crawl mode, every entrance off of the world map is an entrance to a room. They can connect to each other. They can branch off as deep as they want to go, as the mapping algorithm wants to take them. And so you can find basically anything anywhere. The only exception is Kefka's Tower. We know exactly where Kefka's Tower is, so that when we have fulfilled the requirements, we can go there and beat the game.
Yeah, it'd be kind of awkward to walk into a door and then you're thrust into the final battle when you're level 7. So, but we do know where Kefka's Tower is. We just don't know where all those wonderful characters and espers are that are out there that we want to find. And yeah, looks like we got Nobody War back online. He followed a similar path to Jexrock's. Knows it's open world, knows the belt is free, and can get on up there and get the reward from it.
So Jex is systematically investigating this front section of the Phantom Train. Looks like Nobody War found a different portion of the Phantom Train in Mobliz. Jack's getting the switches set up here. You do have to set those switches before you can fight the Phantom Train boss. So now that he's done that, he should be able to fight the boss at the front of Phantom Train whenever he chooses to go back there and do it.
Looks like Jaxie found the exit to Gogo's cave, and that is taking him out to Daryl's tomb. Just your normal everyday sequence. Walk into Zozo's cave or Gogo's cave and come out over by Daryl's tomb, and then walk into the top of the Narsh mountain. Something you see all the time.
Yeah. When the world broke after the cataclysm on the floating continent, it really broke this time.
Now, one thing that is shuffled amongst the various spots, but once you get into them, they're actually intact, are the towns. And Jexrock, this is always really huge because now we know where a town is. And so by virtue of that, we know where a bunch of shops are, and this is kind of like what we need to get going. The ability to find earrings, ability to find things that our party just needs to beat the game. That you find in the normal Worlds Collide seed is huge here for Jexy to be the first one to stumble across the town. Plus, you get all of the loot inside of Albrook here. That's a nice perk as well.
Yeah, that's right. Being able to buy equipment for your guys is a really important aspect of completing a Worlds Collide seed. So finding these towns is a really key element to it. I just want to highlight one of our flags that we have in our Chaos flags today. 2 of them, actually. First, we just saw Jex Y remove a character. We do have Y remove on, so if he is holding down Y, he can yeet NPCs. That is occasionally very useful.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, he picked up a hero ring. Now, a hero ring is a very valuable relic. It boosts both your physical and your magical offense by 25%. But he was going around and discovered that only Setzer can hold that hero ring. And the reason for that is that in this flag set, this chaotic flag set that we pulled for today's seed, only 6 characters can hold any given relic. So maybe you get yourself a great relic like an offering to go with your VK, but it turns out that the same person can't hold both of them. That is something that may be in the cards for this seed.
Yep, that is how chaos works. Speaking of chaos, there was that 26% for random encounters holding a boss. And great news if you happen to also roll undead bosses on, but I don't think we did. So that means that Hydon is a tough cookie that we probably don't want to fight at level 3. So I imagine Jexy's just going to go on back into the Coliseum, which
Yeah.
is I think that's Mount Colts.
Colts, yeah. And back
Oh,
on the Phantom train.
yeah.
You're gonna find yourself on the Phantom train a whole lot in Dungeon Crawl. Jax is
Yeah.
having a
So
really hard time getting off of level 3 here. I see that Nobody
yeah,
Work has managed it. His characters are level 8 or so.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but getting
Jex,
out of level 3 jail is pretty tough, especially when the with those 2 starting espers and now 3 characters, the enemies are level 15.
yeah, he's been robbed by a bear a few times. He's running the hide-in. Now he's running the number 24. Now he's found. Well, good news, we know where Tara is. She is at the end of Dome of Dream. However, where that is up for debate.
It's out there somewhere.
Yeah, but when we find it, we know that we got another character in tow. Um, yeah, so one of the things with some of the hubs is that some of the hubs, when you're making your way through a good hub, your attention to detail, your ability to remember where you have and haven't gone is really important. Because as you're seeing here, a lot of the hubs have a dead end, and there is a point of no return. And this little ledge right here, once we jump through that, if we want to get back up to where we were, we would have to reset and start over from the point in the world map that got us here. And yeah, sometimes you go really far into some of the hubs, and then you'll see that, like, you just drop through a hole, or you end up somewhere you can't go back, and it's just really, calls into the attention to detail, the ability to remember how far you've gone, where you've gone, and how you got there is really, really a huge quality, huge skill to have in these things.
Hmm. And Jack's continuing to get some bad draws here. These Aura. Oh wait, is he gonna? Oh, he might be able to cheese his way through using Phoenix Downs. Oh, that's
Yeah,
great for him actually. So he's gonna turn these Phoenix Downs into experience and get himself out of level 3 jail.
very nice.
Meanwhile, Nobody War is way ahead in the HP game at least. What level is he up to already? Do you think? Is that like level 15, 20, something like
Yeah,
that?
that's like level 16, 17. Is when you start getting like five, because that's like when in the vanilla game we're in the sealed cave, and you're like around level 16 or 17 or so. So we get up there. These Orogs are cheesable, as we just saw. However, it's a dangerous game to play because they can cheese you just as easily as you can cheese them, as we were seeing Yamaro take the Zombite to the face. And
Oh no.
there's
Oh
oh wow,
no.
what
Oh my
amazing
gosh, what luck.
distribution. Yeah.
Oh no.
Um, so unfortunate luck for Jexwalks, but amazing luck if you're a fan of the Orogs to go 3 for 3 there in the correct order.
Wow.
Yeah, another one of the points about these hubs is that the ability to get back to where you were, because you are not safe. You're not guaranteed to find a save point at a comfortable spot as you traverse through your points on the world map. So getting back to where you were is a nice skill to have. Nice skill to be able to remember the map that got you there.
That's right. And Jexfrock really showing off his level of experience with Chaos Crawler. Uh, what is this, like 6 or 7 maps deep that he's gone through to get back to this point, but he knew
Mhm.
where he was going, so.
Yeah, one of the few times in Worlds Collide that you probably like a pen and paper is a good idea, just to remember what at the very least. It's hard to remember because there's like over 40 spots on both world maps combined, if not more. So to remember all of that, plus where the doors 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers deep inside there gotcha,
Yep.
is a
A big
is a
game.
huge task.
I can tell you, there's hundreds of rooms. There's probably like 500 or 600 rooms in Dungeon Crawler. There's I think there's 1,000 exits. It's a very big map to be randomized and all mixed up. Looks like nobody has found Ultros in a random fight here, but he thinks he can take him. And I bet he probably can.
Yeah, I think Ultros' win percentage is like sub 0.01%, so it's fair odds for Nobody War here to get through this. And that's 2 sets of Orogs down, so we are up to level 8. We're using the Warp Stone. Looks like Jex is going to call it quits on the hub that he was in, and
he's going to bank that progress and try something else. I think that's a wise choice after taking a wipe to those Orogs. You never know when you're going to run into something really nasty like a Poltergeist that you can't run from, or what else will get you?
A Doom Gaze if you happen to level up to the wrong level. Magimaster, we don't have anything to deal with. We have that Bahamut we started with, but that's not going to be enough to one-shot any Magimasters we may find. So yeah, there's a lot of things out there that are inherently dangerous to us.
Yeah, even like a Madam Outsiders fight, you can find yourself getting daggers thrown at you before you have a chance to run away.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of unexpected out there. When you're playing through a traditional Worlds Collide seed, you know where your save points are, so you know the point of no return is not that far away. When you have like all of your save points, especially the ones where they're like right in front of the boss or right in front of the danger. But as you're going through these doors naked, or without knowing what's behind them, you can very easily walk into one of those unfortunate situations. They're outside of your control, and that's why only these 2 guys are the ones that are brave enough to take a lot of these challenges on, because I'm not a fan of having a Tantress thrown at my face.
I think we're seeing a little bit of the 2 of them checking various locations that each other have checked. We've seen the Dead End Narsh. We saw that Dead End in Jadur earlier.
Yeah, it'll be very rare throughout the course of this race if we see any overlap, just because you're playing a guessing game. Does Mount Colts on the world map happen to leave anything useful? If not, cool. You just you don't have saving. You don't know Mount Colts is a check. You're just kind of trying to guess and seeing what you can find out there. Question for you, Dr. TT. Do the Chocobo stables lead to hubs in Dungeon Crawl?
Do not lead to hubs in Dungeon Crawl mode. There's a technical reason for that, which you probably don't care about. For a lore reason to that, is just like, how many more connections do you really want?
Yeah. Well, I like to view it as how much disrespect do the Chocobo stables do they need to take on, because in Worlds Collide they're pretty much an afterthought. In the vanilla game, you never really go to them. You start on Chocobos very early and you're thinking, hey, this is cool. How many times am I gonna get through this the rest of the game? And it turns out that's the only time anybody ever tells you about them, or shows them to you. You got to go and find them on your own if you ever want to ride one again. So a lot of disrespect. The Chocobo stables and Chocobos
deserve more respect.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna take a note here, Drinks Glue, to write us a big Chocobo boss fight that we can mix in here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At the very least, like some sequence where you're required to use Chocobos to traverse from point A to point B.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I think there's one time in the vanilla game, playing this as a kid, that I found a Chocobo stable and I was like, oh, I can use this. And I think that was in the World of Ruin, right after walking all the way over to Mobliz and seeing the Terra cutscene and not being able to recruit Terra at the very beginning of the World of Ruin. I think that might be the only time that I like really made use of a chocobo stable.
Yeah, and the fortunate thing is, like, millions of players have probably walked past that chocobo stable and never even realized it was there. And they would have a much more profound appreciation of the chocobos in Final Fantasy VI if they just knew that that was right there.
They would.
Because it's really annoying that you have to walk like the entire world map for like an hour with Celeste in that spot.
You know, speaking of profound appreciation, I have to say that like going into making this dungeon crawler mode with the door randomization, I thought I knew a lot about Final Fantasy VI. But in the process of making this, I have learned things. I've learned a surprising number of things that I had no idea were in the game, just from looking at the maps, looking at the events. There's a there is a trapdoor exit on the Phantom Train that is like purely for fun. That I'll show you sometime if I'm on a stream. But I shouldn't be talking about this because there's interesting stuff going on. We've got a Tritalk boss fight going on Nobody Wars screen. We summoned Bahamut there. That makes a lot of sense, but that wasn't enough to get through here, so we might be relying on Yeti body slams. Meanwhile, Jex Vrock found a great store here. I think this was in Tzen.
Yeah.
World of Ruin Tzen that he found. There's an Atma weapon in the store. There's pearl rods. There's a lot of great stuff. So he's gonna be selling off the farm here to buy. What is he gonna buy here?
Now,
That Atma weapon. Yeah.
speaking of the attention to detail to get in and out of dungeons and being able to navigate your hubs as you find them, analyzing the flags and being aware of what is or isn't on in Chaos is another acquired skill that both of these runners have. I am curious if the flag of stronger Atma weapon was turned on, because if it isn't, that is an awkward purchase, unfortunate purchase. I don't think he would have wanted to make in that case, but we'll find out in a few levels when he starts swinging them.
Yeah. Let me actually take a look. I'm gonna take
Oh
a look
yeah,
at the flags here.
I
And
think
it
it's
turns out,
SA.
uh, stronger ammo weapon is in fact on. So Jex Vrock knows what he's doing. The stronger Atma weapon flag. Atma weapon, everybody loves it from the original game, but in order for it to really turn on in power, you need to get up to like level 50, level 60 in the original game. In order to please the fans for Worlds Collide, we multiply, we make it stronger at an earlier level in Worlds Collide. So it starts really turning on around level 32 when you have the stronger Atma weapon flag on.
Yeah, most flag sets, most seeds, you're ending up, 40s, give or take a little bit, maybe a little bit more if you found some experience eggs, maybe a little less if you had lower requirements. And it just doesn't allow the Atma weapon to be useful. But again, the stronger Atma weapon flag just tinkers with the damage formula a little bit to allow it to be a little bit more viable in most seeds.
That
All
being
right, so
said, I'm pretty sure when he bought it, none of these three characters can use it. So he is looking forward, I think, in buying that to finding some other character.
ooh, this is the find of all finds. Looks like Nobody War is already here as well, but we have found
Mhm.
South Figueroa, at least one of them, and that's huge because of, well, you get access to the basement now.
Yeah, and there's what 15 treasure chests down here, not to mention the stores. There's a lot of value here. Plus the check you can get, Celeste's South Figueroa dungeon check.
And it's like Nobody War has an ad break. They'll be back up in just a moment. But yeah, the check, all the shops, all the hubs. Like this is like if you could find one shop
Thunder shield
or,
there.
or one town, this is the one you would prefer to find.
What have we got here on Carbuncle? We've got fire. Nothing terribly great here. Muddle can be useful occasionally, but that HP plus 50% is probably going to be the main takeaway here. That being said, a Thunder Shield in a chest is a great find. Jex making use of the save point, something you wouldn't typically see in a Worlds Collide seed, but he's going to go see what grind fights he can get here, since he is still behind scaling. So if he can find a good grind fight here, that'll help him out a lot. Unfortunately, Were-Rats are going to be a little bit underpowered. He'll be able to take care of them, but there's not a lot of XP here.
That is everything for a Merton starter kit. If I ever saw one, we got red jackets and flame shield, or excuse me, Minervas and flame shields,
Ooh.
and behemoth suits if you're a fan of those, all in the same armor shop. So huge find for Nobody War. I think they're in contradicting South Figures. I think Nobody Wars in the World of Ruin. I remember seeing more vibrant colors when Jex Rocks came in, so I think he's in the World of Balance one.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. They do have different loot pools in town, as I recall.
Yep. If you can loot it in one spot in the middle of the game and pass on it and come back in the World of Ruin, it's something different. Than in Worlds Collide, it will be 2 separate treasure chests. And that is true of all the outdoor chests and barrels for South Figaro. Also true for the South Figaro Cave. Maybe a few other spots I'm forgetting.
Interesting that Nobody War is passing on those treasure chests on the Phantom Train.
I think he was ducking the monster box just because it was the shuffled loot. So Katana Soul doesn't pay out what it usually will.
Right.
And Jexy's doing a good job with this. I think he's stealing and just even though he's fighting Were-Rats, it's still worth it to see what they're dropping, because if they're dropping X potions, it's money. And then if you find something really good, if you find the Illuminas or if you find Minervas that get dropped, then that's a huge boon, obviously, as well. There's 255 items in the item pool, and then about 50 of those are just incredibly useful in the randomizer. So even if you're finding red caps, force shields, Genji helmets, man eaters, thunderblades, you're more likely to find something that can sell for a lot than you are to find iron armors or whatever.
Sure. That Genji glove is nice, having found the Atma weapons, although he only bought one of them. Oh, it looks like Nobody War found his way from one boss fight into another. He just came out of fighting the Phantom Train boss,
Yeah,
and it dropped him onto a raft where he's going to fight Ultros.
Yeah, this is dangerous because we haven't saved, and this is manageable with that.
I hope he bought. So he's tricking Umaro into not fighting Chatternook in her female form. Here we go. But I saw that he cracked a flame shield on Tritok to get through it. Maybe he has another one he can crack on Chad here. And he does.
Huge. He also, I think we've seen pearl rods in a few spots, so it's possible that he may have some of those. But either way, this is a pivotal moment in the race because, again, we went through one boss. We couldn't save because we got thrown onto the raft. We have to do this, or we go back quite a bit of a ways. So if we can get through this, this is huge for Nobody War.
He had a second flame shield equipped. Oh, that's huge for him, and he's through. Chatternook goes down. Hopefully this doesn't lead him to another boss fight, and it could. This could go straight into MTech 3, for example. But yeah, Dungeon Crawl can be unforgiving in that way. But nope, it is a character Mog. He gets his 4th character.
Ooh, tools, but I think we've sold all the tools. All right, not sure where we ended up, but we are for sure getting into a menu before we have to do anything else.
Jexrock found the opera, making use of the Y remove there to get through the lock on the door. It's just a little bit more efficient, showing off that game knowledge that he has.
What is that for? What is the reason for that for DDT?
Sorry, the reason for what?
He can Y remove a door.
Why not? if you have
Sure.
wire remove. So there's a lock on that door, and the thing is that in the story, you're supposed to go talk to the NPC on the other side, and he says, "Flip this switch in order to unlock the door on the other side." But all of the locks in this game, if you look at the game code, all that they are is they are an invisible NPC who is standing in front of the door, and who there is some condition to delete it. So for that NPC standing in front of that door, that invisible NPC, the condition to remove it is that you go flip that switch. But if you have Y NPC remove, you can just yeet it and go straight through.
Oh no. Okay, it's just number 24, but nobody was thrust into yet another boss fight in his journey. Fortunate though that this is very much manageable for what we found.
True. Also, it looks like he did not, in fact, sell all his tools. Mog has 6 out of the 8 tools, including a drill, which is one of the few you're going to use.
It's a quality craftsman drill, so
Yes,
good
indeed.
one to throw out there. All right, so oh no, so Jexrox is level 15 across the board. Oh, excuse me, 15, 15, and 14. But I don't think that 14 is going to save him because Doomgaze is almost contractually obligated to show up in this scenario when you've traveled quite a bit of ways to get to your destination, and your party happens to be the wrong number. Let's hope he's taking the day off today and not fulfilling his duties. But let's see what's waiting at the opera for Jexy. Okay,
Just Dedaluma
just Dataluma.
flexing on stage, showing off his muscles for the crowd. I don't think he's going to have too much trouble with this.
No, Dataluma's never too much trouble if you have any type of offense under your belt because he has really poor magic defense, really poor regular defense. He does get a little interesting when he calls his friends on stage. However, it takes quite a bit of while to get there. So if you have any way to work through him, you'll take him down before he gets to that point.
He's throwing knives at the guys here, though.
I
You
take that back.
really
Maybe
commentator cursed Jexfrock over here.
we're fine. We can you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a missile knife, and all that.
With Yeti, all things are possible.
Throwing is dangerous though because throws do ignore defense, and yeah. So one of the things about defense ignoring attacks is they're great for enemies because they have higher HP pools. However, when they get to do that in your direction, it's incredibly dangerous because you don't get those robust HP pools. So there is a much higher fatality rate when mithril knives are thrown at you versus when they're thrown the other way.
This Dataluma has quite a lot of he's a pretty buff guy.
You know what? Normalizing distort is on, so
That's true. That's true. Speaking of chaotic flag sets, normalize and distort got flicked on for this one. So it's kind of hard to say exactly how strong and exactly how much HP this Dataluma has.
and the only thing we know for certain is it has more HP than the damage we've done to it.
We've summoned Bahamut at him. We've thrown some Fire 2s at him. Yeti's doing his business. Cyan's got what's he got? Genji Glove Hawkeye? Is that what that is?
I think it's double Hawkeye, and then the Pearl Lance, which we're jumping with Setzer. We got to be close though, even though normalizing the store doesn't get this bad.
Meanwhile, Nobody War also showing up at the Opera House. Oof! Oh no!
Ugh.
Oh no!
Come on, crack out.
Oh!
Let's go.
Setzer gets it done. Wow!
Wow, indeed. Clutch there by Setzer.
That was the roughest Dataluma I've seen in a while. Lion gets his laughter moment on the stage, and we have Celeste. So Jexrock gets his 4th party member.
Celeste on the left side of the screen, Mog on the
Ooh,
right side of the screen.
did
That's a
you
sword
see the
deck
stats
Celeste.
on
Yeah.
that Celeste? That was a beefy Celeste.
What was the what were we looking at?
Strength in the 40s, magic in the 40s. Just all the numbers looked high to me.
So fun fact, Celeste has the fourth highest natural magic power in the game. Number one is Realm. Number two is Terra. And do you know who number three is, my friend?
I'm gonna guess, using the context of the question, that it is Umaro.
It is indeed Yumaro. Not a lot of people
Hey.
know that. But there's an organization out there that aims to share the facts about the Yeti. And yeah, he does indeed have the third highest natural magic stat in Final Fantasy VI.
Which he uses for.
Well, if you find the Blizzard Orb, which is arguably, it's one of Yumaro's two unique relics. The Rage Ring is another fantastic one. But the Blizzard Orb does give him access to the Blizzard attack, or I think it's actually Storm. Anywho, that's how you can utilize that amazing magic stat Yumaro is blessed with.
That's right. And when Umaro is equipped with his Snow Muffler, his Blizzard Orb, and his Rage Ring, he absorbs fire, he absorbs ice, he halves thunder? Is that, or negates thunder? He's a real powerhouse.
Yep. We do have a flag called Equipable Yumaro in Worlds Collide, and that just basically just allows Yumaro to be equipped with custom items that he normally in the vanilla game cannot touch him. So he can, he comes with the Bone Club and the Snow Muffler, and most people keep that intact with their flag sets. But you can equip a Tempest, you can equip a Hawkeye, you can equip a Pearl Lance on Yumaro. Yeah, equipable Yumaro is a fun time.
So both Jex and Nobody were going through a bunch of fixed encounters here. We've got Sky Wolves, we've got Train Ghosts. What are these things? The Psychots.
Spirits?
Spirits?
Because
They're
you
like
find them
trains,
in
kind of?
the. Yeah, I assume. I don't. Maybe like. Yeah, I always just assumed they were like spirits or reminiscence of things between that kind of hover between worlds, whatever you want to, interpret that as. Because they hang out in a spot that's kind of like abandoned and almost a ghost town now, if you will. So I just thought they were like maybe vengeful spirits.
Could be.
But they don't give that much experience, but because you do get 6 of them in the time in the counter formation there, that's a really good fight to have because you don't need a lot to take them down easily. And the benefit of seeing the 6 of them is you get the 6 times the experience for taking them down, or 6 times the total.
You also get 6 times the drops because we have randomized drops going on here. So in addition to the money and experience they give you directly, they also give you a bunch of stuff to sell. I think we got 6 Guardians off of that.
Nice. Yeah, Guardian, doesn't do much for you as far as moving the needle. However, I think we've seen at least like 20 different encounters so far between the fixed encounters and the bosses, and we haven't seen anything juicy get dropped yet. But I think we're due, at least if I can Illumina Ragnarok Night Knife type drop, or something we can farm that's repeatable. I think we're about time we came across one of those.
Yeah. One of the perks of the randomized drops is when you can, and steals when you can find something you can farm that is gives your whole party end game damage.
Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna get what with the evil toot? Berserk Cyan. That's not the end of the world.
Maybe.
Oh,
that?
and Doom Darts on the Ghost Train.
Talk about a evil toot backfiring. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That's one way to end this fight.
Yeah.
Phantom Train, of course, susceptible to instant death, ironically.
Yeah, he's also undead, but we do remove the undead status from Phantom Train and Hydon, so that they're a little bit more challenging. However, Phantom Train is acceptable to instant death, but you never really know that because when Shadow, Cyan, and Save and find him, they don't have access to the instant death magic, so it's kind of like he is. It's a cool thing to know, but never really came up until until we started randomizing the game.
Meanwhile, Jex has found one of my favorite spots in Door Randomizer, which is the Bridge Trolls in Zone Eater. One of my favorite because the mapping logic can require you to be able to jump through here in order to access, for example, Cyan's Cliff. And if you can't jump through here because the bridge trolls knock you off, then you just gotta find your way back and try it again. But fortunately, Jexfrock is a true pro, and he was able to make it all the way through and pick up some kind of item.
There's 28 items in the item reward pool, and then some of those are more useful than others, but we're not going to pass down a Genji shield because somebody can wear it, fantastic. If not, maybe sometime in the future, it can be some more money at a shop. All right, we got another moment.
Find yourself in a Magitech cave in Cyan's Dream. You can actually fight with the Magitech on. It's a nice perk. Good way to, if you start with very bad abilities, for example, it might be a good way to do a bit of grinding or to heal yourself up with some heal force. But Jex is well beyond that. He's happy to move on and see what else he can find.
I think the Ghost Train for Cyan's Dream just sent him back to the beginning of it, so that's a new one. But we ended up at a good spot though, because this is the tail end of Mount Colts, and this is where we get a boss fight, and this is another one of the checks where we can find some of the characters of Magicite we need.
So if you get toward the end of the game, Leader can punch really hard with his axe. I don't think we're at that point here yet, though. I think Jex has finally gotten out ahead of scaling, so he seems to be pretty well stabilized and finds himself another Esper with Merton on it.
Ooh, nice, very nice.
Now I think Jex did not find the South Figaro that had all the Merton protection. But the night is young still. He may still find himself in possession of a bunch of flame shields from South Figaro World of Ruin, as long as he looks in the right place.
Yeah, it looks like Nobody Wars ad break is finishing up, so he'll be back and about exploring these towns and dungeons here in just a moment on the screen. Yeah, even though we haven't seen that flame shield, I think we found red jackets at the Zen, where there's also those Atmo weapons. So if Jax can remember how he got there, he does have access to some more Morton protection if he wants to navigate back there and give it a purchase.
So, tell me, Drinks Glue, what are your personal favorite end game builds for Worlds Collide?
Well, I have many, but I think I'll give you my top 5. I think the absolute most broken thing, and how broken you get there, you know, can vary. But the Valiant Knife offering, just because it takes next to nothing to get it online, and it's so safe in the sense that you can start off a fight with full HP, and the longer that fight goes on, the more if it just benefits you as far as a DPS standpoint, because you'll take damage, you just don't restore that damage. And then and it will kill anything in the game. Some things will take a little bit longer, some things will have multiple targets on screen, and you'll have to just swing more, but eventually you will get there. Next up on the list is some type of magic boosted fire spell attack. More enemies, more bosses in Final Fantasy VI are weak to fire than they are ice or bolt combined. So fire is just a spell that you just want to have more often than not, just to play the odds to the best of your abilities. And Boosted Fires magic is a huge way to clear through a seed fast and just have a good time. From there, I think next up on the list, we got to go with the Tempest. The Tempest does not get much love, does not get very much appreciation out and about on the internet these days, as there are just some things that don't get the respect that they're due. But the Tempest has been slept on for far too long. It is the one single item in the game that can produce the highest DPS with the right boosted equipment. So yeah, Tempest coming out, rounding out the list at number 3.
Is that so? What does that build look like?
Oh well, now I'm not a lunatic, right? You gotta just boost the magic tower a little bit, but if you have a Tempest Genji Glove offering set up, and you can get procs of things like tier 3, tier 4, or the Haydn and the Haydn Knights, you can break the damage gap at a comically, low level. Or at a comical rate, excuse me, not low level, because you do got to get levels for the damage as well. But like you can swing one time with that setup and wipe tier 2 all in one swing in one turn, and there's nothing else you can do that with. You can't do that with your Ultimas, you can't do that with your Atma weapons or with your Illuminas, but you can do that with the Tempest.
You heard it here first. The Wind God setup is in fact the true greatest build for Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide.
Yeah, there's a meme. If over the years, if you've been on some Final Fantasy 6 websites or forums about the Wind God Gauss setup, but Worlds Collide, you have the ability to take a step further with the right shuffle in equipment, and then you can wear that by default, and that allows you to free up a relic slot for the Kidji Glove.
You get the double earring on there. Yeah.
Yeah, it can all just be enhanced. So
So that was 1 through 3. I assume number 4 is Yeti, right?
well, fun fact: all of those builds involve Yumaro doing them. Even the fire setup, I don't know how it can happen, but one day it will happen.
Well, Nobody War just picked up a VK for free in Kolingen here. That's awful nice.
Very nice.
He already has a Mog swinging a VK, so if he can find that Genji Glove that we know that Jexrock has, he's going to have a very powerful Mog.
Yeah. I think that was purchased in the Albrook Jexrox found quite a while ago, back around the 12-minute mark. And
he's got a glove. Look at that.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gonna buy out REI's entire stock of sleeping bags here, and head back to the map.
All right. Pop quiz, Dr. DT. What room did Nobody War just walk into there trying to leave collagen?
Oh, that was.
I know that I know it, but I'll give you 10 seconds.
Okay, that I didn't get a great look at it, but it looked like it was probably one of the single treasure rooms in Zozo.
That is the single treasure room that's to the right of the Zozo Mountain Rust Rid door.
Yeah.
It's a great catch there.
Hey man, I've looked at these maps for so long. For hours and hours and hours have I looked at these maps.
All right. If chocobos don't get the respect they deserve in Final Fantasy 6, one thing that gets even more disrespected is boats and ferries. However, Nobody War, being the seasoned veteran of the dungeon crawl, realizes that the ferry sends him to another hub, and that other hub is going to be Nakia, which is the shop, and then from there, the world is his oyster, and we'll see what this sends him out to.
You can buy fixed dice for his Setzer. Is that going to be a thing? Looks like that's going to be a thing. I haven't tracked what he's doing with Setzer, but fixed dice is always a great build, and he's happy to get one. Fixed dice, one of the rare builds that is actually most broken at the beginning of the game.
Oh, did you see what we just found?
No, what did we just find?
We found the Vector Hub, which you never see. Oh no, oh no, don't do it to us.
Here
We
we go.
just found the good spot. Oh,
No. Oof. Oh, that's harsh.
yeah, because we got to ride the boat to get back over here. Oh no.
He is taking the L. He is going back to ride that boat.
So
That's, I can't disagree with that choice.
before he met his cruel fate, Nobody War did find the Imperial banquet. I guess the throne, lobby. The room where, or the part of Vector where you're traveling about, asking the soldiers, trying to, see what their story is. Talk to them to gather points.
They call it the
For the
Imperial
Emperor.
Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't get to it in Worlds Collide because the Guardian robot gates it, right? And it's an unwinnable fight that just sends you back to the beginning. However, in the dungeon crawl mode, it is very much visitable because you can get there through random doors, right? And yeah, we just gotta find our way back there.
He also lost. Yeah, he lost the VK here, and we're gonna see if he remembers to rebuy the fixed dice. Looks like he's remembering. Is he remembering? Oh no, wait, that was in Nikea.
Yeah.
He's retracing his path here. Yeah, so in the end, when the map was trying to figure out how to map all of these different towns together, we just needed a few more hubs. So the Imperial Castle became a really great one for being able to connect a whole bunch of places together.
Hmm.
When you need more doors, it gives you more doors. And it can become a place that you spend a long time investigating
Hmm.
when you're playing one of these dungeon crawl seeds. That, and I think we also introduced the Esper world as an additional hub. Looks like Nobody War made his way back to Nikea, but he did not rebuy the
Fixed dice.
fixed dice. Extract finds himself another Esper at the sealed gate.
Yep, that is 4 and
Magic
6.
power +2.
Nice.
Is it really? Are we up to date on our trackers here?
I'm
For
checking
this,
Nobody Wars right now. Let me pull up his actual stream on my phone.
while you do that, I'll just point out Jexrock just walked through the hallway with the line of marching NPCs in Zozo. There is nothing more satisfying than running through that hallway in Y remove mode. You can just delete all those guys. Walk through it as fast as you can.
All right, now we're up to date. From a distance, that looked like a 2. But we're actually at 4 and 6 on both sides of the screen.
Okay.
So,
Close game.
yeah, which is really, a tribute to Nobody War. He's had a couple, unfortunate wipes. And send him back, and just walk into a Doom gets the wrong level. Just gets amplified in Dungeon Crawl because of all the ways you have to go to get there and find out the bad news. So kudos to him for not letting the tutorial allow Jexwax to separate in the race.
I blinked and I missed it. Is this the actual boss of Burning House on the left, or is this just a fixed encounter in Burning House?
I think this is the boss because remember we were fighting Orogs as the
That's right.
earlier.
Aha! And
And,
Nobody War remembered about the fixed dice. Came back to get him. Good for him. That's going to be probably important for him. I don't know if I would have sold all 3 muscle belts when I had a VK on hand, but
question from the chat, and I'll defer to your expertise, Doctor. Do you ever have to do the clock in Dungeon Crawler?
So, in the current version of Dungeon Crawler, the clock is never required. It is strictly a bonus. If you figure out the password for the clock and can go through it, it may give you a shortcut from here to there, but it is never required. During early testing of Dungeon Crawler and door randomization, I did make it required, and logically it is always doable. You can always find all of the clues that you need before you are required to go through the clock. That being said, it is by far the biggest pain in the neck of any of these locked exits that you might want to go through. So I gave in to the pleas from the community and made it entirely optional.
Yeah, because to solve it, you would basically have to find the doors to the scene or the screens with the right NPCs. You would find them almost 30 minutes apart. So unless you wrote it down and remembered to check it, then
That's
you have
right.
to find the actual clock room.
It's just a nightmare, and when it comes right down to it, like there's something to be said for difficulty in games like this, but you already have to be kind of crazy to play Dungeon Crawler and to enjoy it. So I don't want to punish people too much for enjoying this thing. So I think it's a good choice in the end to to make the clock entirely optional.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that speaking of interesting finds, I think this is probably one of the biggest rooms, biggest screens in the game, if not the biggest. Because
Are
there's
you
a lot
talking
of spots on Jexy.
about?
Yeah, because you start all the way up here to get in here, but that room is actually very, very robust in size and the places you can go and the treasure chest you can get access to.
Yeah, it's a big room, but there's only a handful of exits. There's the door at the top, and there's a conveyor belt at the bottom. I think that's
Yeah, that's the only ways in and out, but
yeah. But there's a lot of
Mhm.
treasure in there.
Mhm.
It's a great find. Um,
A lot of treasure in there that most people forget about that's even there.
that's true. There's treasure hidden in the walls. Um,
Hidden in pipes, hidden down south, but farther down than you can go. Some of them you have to walk all the way around and do a lap around the room to get to.
Red cap's a nice find. One of the things you actually want to take the time to put on your head. Ooh, and it looks like Nobody War has found the Doma Dream boss, and it is Atma Weapon.
Oh, this is Terra.
It is Terra. That's true. It's
Yeah,
another character.
I don't remember if it was his screen that we unearthed that on or not. But speaking of Terra,
Oh my gosh.
did they end up here through different ways?
No, they came the same route. It's just this is very rare. I gotta say,
Yeah, they got
synchronicity.
here from entirely different spots on the world map. That's a first.
Wow, this is
Yeah.
this is unheard of for a dungeon crawl seed to have this kind of synchronicity. They both got here. They're both gonna get their 5th character, basically at the same time.
Yeah, the entire mode is designed and revolved around this not happening, but the fact they both ended up in the same hub and walked into the door with the same boss at the same time, again, as you mentioned, Dr. DT, a first.
So I don't know if we've talked about the requirements, the unlock requirements for the seed yet, have we?
I believe it's 2 out of the 3, and they gotta find 9, 7, or 5.
9 characters, 7 espers, or 5 dragons. So on that metric, looks like we're both pretty close on espers. I'd be surprised if we didn't get espers for these guys. But we still gotta find 4 characters on both sides, and we gotta fight. Oh, excuse me. Or we have to fight 4 more dragons. Now I think the dragons are shuffled rather than mixed in. Is that true?
Yeah, because remember, I think it was Jexy did the Opera House
Right.
dragon, and it was the Storm Dragon. So they're shuffled in their vanilla spots, and how you get to those vanilla spots as well. Good luck. But
So
similar,
is showing off a time-tested tactic, a very important strategy when you're playing one of these dungeon crawl modes, which is save scumming. There's a few spots where you have a save point right in front of a choice between 3 trapdoors. One of them is here in Cyan's Dream, another one is in Esper Mountain. And because those trapdoors are one way, you can't come back through them. If you go through one and you don't like where you ended up, you might as well reset and see where another door went, because otherwise you got to do a long walk to get back there.
Hmm. Yeah, when we were at the FFR Summer Marathon, I sat next to these two guys as they did their dungeon crawl showcase race there, and like let me tell you something. Like you've never seen an individual as locked in, as focused, as relegated, or is his mind locked into the task as you see Jex Rocks when he is doing one of these. And that's just the type of tension it takes to like know, to be able to think on the spot that, hey, I've been playing this randomizer for 4 years, and save scumming in Final Fantasy 6 is almost unheard of. But to know that, to think of that in the middle of Dome and Dream like that, that's how locked in he is. That's how locked in you have to be at this high of a level in these type of modes.
Yeah, these are both players who know better than anybody else all of the tricks of the trade to be able to get through one of these chaos crawlers. Jex identified that the version of showing off another
Oh,
valuable element of Y remove here. Typically, you gotta wait until you have resurfaced Figaro Castle in order to come up here, see what's in the shop, and I think pick up the throne reward.
hmm.
There it is, Gao, character number 6 with shock and health.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about the integrity of the Figaro citizens because they claim the castle is underground and they can't breathe, but clearly you just walk through the door up here and it's business as usual everywhere else. So you almost wonder if like they're in on the robbery for like some type of insurance scam, to collect the insurance or the payout for
Yeah.
claiming the castle was robbed. So
So you want to be careful though. You do not want to Y remove the guy on the south. Oh, he's doing it.
yeah, just like that.
Oh gosh, why? In Vanilla Worlds Collide, that is a real no-no. That makes it, I think, impossible to go back and complete the engine room check. I'm kind of surprised he did that. I guess he didn't want to do the engine room check.
I mean, it's technically not required because the seed can't be gated by it because it's open world. So,
That's true.
however, it would have given us a dragon once we go down to Ancient Castle. So,
Well, except the ancient castle isn't necessarily there.
oh, that's right. Only the actual engine room check is self-contained.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that choice. Normally you don't, like, pass up a check like that. We'll have to...
Maybe he's just committed to like I'll find my dragons as opposed to finding my characters.
Oh, maybe. Maybe he's
Because
dragging...
it's easier to hone in on dragons.
I mean, you do know where 2 of the dragons are. You know that 2 dragons are in Kefka's tower. Right,
Yeah.
so he only has to find 2 dragons out in the world. Whereas you would have to find 3 characters. But even so, like, if you went down to Engine Room and you got that additional character, then it would be 2 and 2. And, like, I don't know, it's an interesting choice.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna second guess the season grizzled veteran of the dungeon crawl.
Yeah, neither will I. Meanwhile, Nobody War found one of those elusive dragons. Much to his benefit, the white dragon here. Looks like he has put Terra in the party. To go along with his double VK Mog.
Oh, so Sabin at Daryl's tomb. Huge find. Tunnel armor, so this fight is free as free can be at this point in the game.
Yeah. So this definitely puts Jex close to
Go mode.
go mode, yeah. Just 2 more characters he's got to find.
At the very least, it lines him up with the number of dragons he needs. So we're down to 2 more characters, or 2 more dragons.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. If Nobody War finds another dragon, then he does already have go mode, because we know there are 2 dragons in Kefka's tower.
Correct.
So, that's right. So Jex needs 2 characters or 2 dragons. Nobody War needs 1 dragon. And I'm sure that's what he's hunting for. And gets a free Magicite for free.
Doctor, we got a gift, or excuse me, we got a resub in the chat. We're gonna highlight this individual. Thank you, Tall Grant, for your 5 months of support for Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide and our friends. All of your all of the money raised by the Twitch channel goes to the Save the Umaro Foundation to keep Yetis off of airships. So we appreciate your support with that, my friend.
Yes, thank you very much. It is definitely a worthy cause to keep Umaros employed.
I'm shocked both Jexrox and Nobody War have kept them around that way. They are not immune to taking shots at statements or I guess the admin machine, if you will, and making their voices displeasured. But you know they are not taking that stance tonight. They are using Yamaro the entire way through, and that's very very righteous of them, and I appreciate it.
Well, you know, it comes down to what do you find? If you've got if you find a bunch of great casters and an Esper with Merton on it, and a bunch of flame shields, then, you know, Umaro, for all of his many benefits, cannot cast Merton. But if you don't find that, if you're just relying on punching things hard, Umaro is an expert.
Yeah, one of the things is that like you kind of don't know when you're going to end up with requirements. Speaking of requirements, there's Gao for Nobody War.
Nobody gets his Gao.
Because you kind of don't know how you're going to end up with requirements, that means you're probably going to complete more game than you want to do. And when you complete more game, defeat more bosses than what you don't want to do and end up going over your requirements in some way or shape or form, you end up higher level. And then physical offense just as king in Worlds Collide when you have levels like that. So, you know, Yamaro is only going to do one thing and one thing only, and that's smash. So when you end up high levels, smashing is a good idea.
Speaking of Umaro, we've got some Umaro on Umaro action here. Everybody put your dabbing Yetis in chat. And he's down.
That was the offense has really come together now, because earlier on, you know, it's like Hawkeyes and summoning Bahamut one time and hoping Yamaro takes care of the rest of the seed or takes care of the rest of the fight. But now we're at the point where, you know, we're just melting through Yetis, almost as if they're not even there in front of us. And now we're in the 40s, 45 with our level. We are cooking with gas.
45 and counting. We just got a second experience egg that is getting slapped on Terra here. Nobody War taking the exit, gonna bank that progress. Look someplace he hasn't looked yet. I gotta say, like, I personally get very lost when I'm doing this, and I'm very impressed at the at these runners being able to keep track of where they have been, where they have not been, where the hubs are, being able to keep searching out what where remains to be explored in this dungeon crawl seed. And Jack himself the snow battlefield with the blue dragon on it.
Yeah, I can't. I've said this numerous times tonight. I can't emphasize this enough about how good they are at this, how they specialize in this, and there really may be no 2 other people in the world who can do this at the rate and with the skill and the precision that Nobody War and Jexrox do these dungeon crawlers with. It's really a skill that only they have mastered. But yeah, 2 huge finds back to back. We got Realm on one side of the screen and then the Dragon on the other side of the screen. So we are inching closer to that fabled go mode.
That's right. After this, and I don't think Jax is going to have any trouble with this. Interesting to note that he partied a vanilla Sabin with Blitz. That dragon is down. But anyway, so with that dragon down, I think, is that his third dragon?
That's his second. His tracker has the Earth or
Okay.
the Dirt Dragon, and now the Ice Dragon marked off, and then he's still at 7 characters. So one more dragon or two more characters, whatever he can find first.
Okay. Does he have? Sorry, he does have his 7th Esper.
Yes, he does.
Great.
Oh, we are back at the gold mine.
Oh, and we found what have we found? We found Kefka at Narsh on the right-hand side.
Which is a nope.
Definitely a nope without a character there.
And we've seen the Storm Dragon spot. We've seen the Earth Dragon spot. Let me ask, is Phoenix Cave shuffled into this? I don't think we've seen any Phoenix Cave.
No, I haven't seen any Phoenix Cave yet. Phoenix Cave is shuffled, so if you find Phoenix Cave, it asks you, the game asks you if you want to split your party to continue. You can split your party right there when you land at Phoenix Cave, and do the entirety of Phoenix Cave and then exit. And there is still a dragon in there, so if we find Phoenix Cave, it'll just be in a door somewhere. Oh, Jex finds Realm as well. That's his 8th character. Gosh.
Yeah.
He's really walking the line here. He can go either way.
Yeah, nobody wore.
Not going to be a problem. Doesn't. Here's a question: does Narapa absorb holy? I thought no, it doesn't.
No,
Narapa's
just
weak to holy.
just fire.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why. I can never remember what Narapa's weaknesses are.
Yeah,
I think she's weak to getting punched in the face.
Yeah,
like we all are.
And that timer, like, well, when you fire that timer is just there for show. She's not a threat. It's like here's a timer, and we're putting reflect on her just to scare you. And that's the extent of the scare.
Yeah. I had a mnemonic for it. I think she's like, she's weak against goddesses' elements, which are lightning and holy.
Mhm.
But then I forget, and I think maybe she's absorbs those elements, and I just get confused, so I just hit her with weapons until she dies.
That's another benefit of having Yamaros. You don't have to remember her elemental weaknesses. You can just let him do his thing.
That's right.
All right, so this is huge because they're both found the Magitech Castle Vector Hub, and they're both discovering what lies within there. And we're playing a dangerous game. One more door, the right door, Jax rocks run through, and he'll be in gun mode while nobody war needs to find at least the right door for a dragon, or at least two more characters. But we know they're out there. He just hasn't found them.
Yeah, and nothing is directly connected here, so he's got to go a little bit deeper. Oh, he found the fixed dice. Is he going to take them? Does he want those? He does. That's a little bit of safety probably for him. He was jumping with Setzer, and fixed dice is a little bit safer than Pearl Lance. There's a much higher variance, but some things absorb Pearl, nothing absorbs fixed dice.
The house can absorb fixed dice.
The house?
The house.
Oh. Yes. Fortunately, we never fight the house in this game. That's a Final Fantasy VII thing.
All right, so I don't think this was anything. I think this was an experience egg. This Doomgaze gave. Maybe it was a VK. Maybe it was an Esper. I forget. But oh, speaking of Espers, there's Esper number 9 for Nobody War.
He's probably not even going to check that. He's just going to keep running because, like many of the best runners, he knows that ultimately the real final boss of Worlds Collide is the menu boss. The one that wastes your time while you try to figure out whether you actually want to use this Esper or not. Doomgaze not giving Jex as much trouble as Doomgaze gave to Nobody War earlier. Saban's having a bit of trouble standing up here, but I think he was the only one who dropped to the math check.
Ooh, I never realized that the multiple door shuffles in Owser's are multiple exits.
They are, yeah, that's right. The one on the left is a door. You can come back through it. The other two are trapdoors. If you step through them, they take you to some random trapdoor location. So you got to be careful, but they do take you somewhere else.
All right, Nobody War calling it quits on his current chain, and
I don't think we've seen anybody go to World of Ruin yet, like to take the airship over to World of Ruin and start checking areas over there. What does Kefka have in store for us here?
Yeah, this is huge because he walked right into Esper Mountain and walked right into this, and this is a character. That means Jex Rocks is a door or a spot on the world map, one door, 0 spirit deep away from his go mode.
Yeah,
if he just picks the right location, but none of that matters. It's
not. It is not a character. So for the sake of Dungeon Crawler, a little bit of interesting factoid here, if anybody wants to play this. Imperial Camp here does have 2 exits. It has the north exit that you usually come into, and it also has the west exit. So if it wasn't for that, he might just reset out of this. But there is an additional place that he can explore. He can look further into this branch of the dungeon by walking out the west exit here. So he's gonna finish this off and then keep exploring.
Is he fighting the level magics? Is he sending a message to them?
Is fighting the level magics? Is he trying to learn magic?
Is he trying to loot?
Oh, maybe. He might reconsider this.
Yeah.
This is an interesting choice. I wonder why he's doing it.
Well, like some of these fights, other than in Tanger, there's some of the hardest fights you could take on. Some longest fights as well. So most dangerous, longest. Could just be a trophy you want to put on a shelf.
You think he just hit his breaking point and he said, "No more shall level magics lord this over me. I will show them who is boss."
I think his stream got another ad break. So it's gonna be he'll be MIA for a moment or two. Esper number 8 for Jex Rocks, but none of that matters. But we did get access to some more doors, and more doors means more chances to walk into character node dragon. That gives us go mode.
This is probably Doma Dream. Oh, interesting. What did we find? He found a character. Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Who is it?
It doesn't matter, but it's still huge.
It's Shadow. You're right. It doesn't matter, but it is huge for him because that gives him go mode.
It does.
Beat up this octopus, and he'll be ready to enter KT.
It does matter that he saw a shadow though, because that does mean 6 more weeks of winter. But nevertheless, that's character number 9, Ultros number 2 here is a fight that will give Jex Rocks no problem. So yeah, he will be first into the tower, first onto the path to victory, to defeating the game.
That is excellent news for Jexrock, and Ultros is down. Now, he needs to remember to actually recruit Shadow here. And he does.
Nice.
If you don't talk to Shadow, you don't get Shadow in Umara's cave. So, there you go. Starting with Umaro, ending with Umaro. It's a natural magic Shadow. That's nice, but Final Kefka is unlocked. At around level 40. I think he's got his damage in order. I don't know if he's looking for anything else. So I think he's just going to go.
Yep, gone indeed. We have enough characters, 9 of them in fact, so we can have full party, full Mogul Charm meals as we go into Kefka's Tower. Nothing to worry about there. We did find. Oh, that's a dragon. We missed it with the ad break, but nobody worse found his dragon number 3, which means while he'll have a little bit of homework to do in the tower, he'll be on his go mode as well.
Yes, he will be able to enter the tower and clear out the 2 dragons that are in the tower. But that will take a little bit more time than Jexfrock, who just has to walk through the tower. Deciding on the party layout here is very important for him. Make sure that he's got the characters where he needs them. Looks like he is overstocking party 2.
Is he gonna go kill a dragon for levels? His terror's only level 31. So
go ahead.
Let's paint a picture. Nobody War has found an egg, at least 2 eggs, so he has a huge level advantage here. You can see low 30s for Jexrox, high 50s, or excuse me, level 50 for one of his characters. So while Nobody War has a little more business to attend to in Kefka's Tower with those dragons, that level advantage is going to be huge because those levels will save him minutes alone on the final fight versus Jexrox.
It's true. Although he does have to spend the time to kill those dragons, which he will probably kill very quickly. But it's still a couple of minutes that Jex doesn't have to spend. So
yeah,
this is the eternal question: do you want to get in sooner at a lower level, or do you want to get in later at a higher level? Which is faster? I guess we're gonna find out.
ideally you would do both somehow, because sometimes in Worlds Collide Seed you just fight all the right bosses with the bigger XP pools with the right spells that make them go faster. Sometimes you fight all the wrong bosses that give lower XP, shares like Tunnel Armor or Welk and whatnot, and you end up here a little bit lower leveled. But yeah, this is gonna be a tale of two Kefka's Towers because one he's even loading up his far right side, it looks like, and so maybe he's gonna do a full lane clear and grab the dragon on the way.
Yeah, I believe he is doing that. That's what it looks like he's doing. He's going to do a full right lane clear. He can hit both dragons with this party if he does a full clear.
Yeah.
You can walk through from one side, cross over to the other side, hit the dragon. I bet that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. Plus,
that will probably end up being faster for him just because he can throw his entire main party at the center statue and both dragons, and then split them up to take on the 2 side statues.
Yeah, plus with B dash, a lot of the time you'd assume that is lost walking the tower twice, plus a little bit of overlapping is a little mitigated by the fact that we get to do that a little bit faster. But also Jexrox has that same B dash, so his Kefka's Tower trip will be lower leveled, but still have a benefit of B dashing through it as well.
Yeah, so a KT walk takes what, like 4 to 6 minutes? I forget exactly. But with B dash, it'll probably be more like 3 minutes. Would be my guess, depending how good you are.
Depends on how good you are boarding the walls. They come up on you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think what happened with Jexrox is when he found some of the characters he found, they were on the wrong side of party average when they came in, and a good rule of thumb I always like to follow is your first 5 characters as your party. Pick 4 of those and go with it, because you never want to guess when you're going to find character number 6. If you find them way after you find character number 5, then they're coming at a lower level. And with some builds, it doesn't make much of a difference. However, if you're winning on an offensive field, it's a huge net negative in the DPS race when they come in 6 or 7 levels behind everybody else in that regard.
Yeah. Jex's 4th character was that Celeste with sword tech. And I don't remember who his 5th character was. He's walking through. He's using Shot Gao here, but Jex is not planning on a double walk. Jex is going to do this all in one go, is my guess. So he split up his party that way. So, oh. I wonder if he's going to have Cyan slap that Gao so that he doesn't shock the party.
Sometimes you just let it ride. So this this gal is a threat to the party. Well, I have a moment. Another fun fact about Yamaru is Yamaru is actually the best support mage in Final Fantasy VI, and allow me to explain. If you equip Yamaru with the Rage Ring, he will remove the status effect when he throws a character at the enemy. The the extra damage for replacing his body slam and whatnot. However, when he does that, he will always target any muddle characters, and that action will also remove their muddle status.
Umaro again and again showing how he is the greatest character in this great game. So,
Definitely in the top 14.
Terra falls definitely in the top 14. Terra falls to a charge from the Marshal, but otherwise they get through relatively unscathed.
Yeah, Marshall, similar to Leader, some of his abilities can really hurt, but other than that, Marshall's not much of a threat. The threat was the tap dancer standing in front of him, but Jexy, as nobody was earlier, is through it and moving on.
So Jex is at the switches.
It's Red Dragon for Nobody War, but looks like we're about to get another freeze in the stream, so I'll be back in just a moment.
So we only had 2 starting Moogle Charms, so there's a little bit of tossing the Moogle Charms back and forth here. Coming back in onto the stream with Setzer throwing a quad 9s damage on this Red Dragon with his fixed dice. That's why you like the fixed dice, especially around level whatever he is, 40-something. They start out good, and they only get better.
Yeah, technically, anytime you roll a fixed dice, you will, depending on the actual rolls, the next fight, they will always do more damage, assuming that you gain levels from completing the previous fight. So they will only go up higher more and more and more throughout the seed. However, you do eventually start to bump into the ceiling with some of your higher and better rolls, and some of that damage gets shaved off by virtue of there being a damage cap in the game. So some of those amazing triple sixes, the damage that could be is cut off because it caps off at 9,999.
That's true. But if you're throwing quad 9s, I think that you're probably pretty happy with how you're doing.
I think this is a no Moogle Charm senior behemoth for Jex Rocks.
This is a random senior behemoth.
Yeah. Just goes to show how dangerous Kefka's Tower is, that there's a endgame boss rolling around just hanging out willy-nilly.
And this is going to let Nobody War get out ahead and see what boss is at the Guardian spot before Jex gets there. And we have Poltergeist. This is a nasty boss to have in this spot.
It may have been shuffled statues. This is the first statue fight we've seen.
Shuffle statues? I don't think it is.
We'll know after we see 2 more statue fights.
I'm pretty sure the statues were mixed in this flag set. This is the first statue we've seen, isn't it, though?
It definitely is.
In particular, this is a nasty spot because he has... And he's not really in danger. He's got great damage here. This double VK Mog is going to shred Pulte here with a quick as well, dumping over 36,000 damage in a single turn, and Pulte goes down. But it's still a nasty spot for a bad boss because you've put a lot of effort into walking through KT, you fought those 2 dragons, and you roll up here. It's been a while since you had a save point. But he gets through it without too much trouble.
Yeah, and that was the garden spot anyway, so there's a shuffled statue there. We'd may have to file a bug report, but...
No, the statues are mixed.
All right. So, again, Jex will have to do one go-through. However, this is a little dangerous because he's about to walk into that spicy chicken, and he has nowhere near the power Nobody War has. So this is going to be a far more slog of a fight for him.
That's right. What is he doing? He is confused. What is he doing? He
There
is
we go.
taking on the boss. Okay. Meanwhile, Nobody War has gone through Welk. Welk is one of the rare bosses for whom Umaro is a detriment rather than a boon. In basically every seed I have where I decide to go with Umaro, I run into Welk, and every single turn Umaro hits the shell and gets me bolt threes to the face.
Now, it does take a while, but you can technically kill the shell. I forget the exact number, but it has a very robust amount of HP. The great heads up play there by Nobody War. He's taking a look on the left side, and he's going to be glad he did because that is a Magimaster hanging out on one of the statue spots. So now he can reform his party with the knowledge of knowing that that is there.
That is a real advantage to him in terms of knowing what party he wants to send up to face Magi Master. Right hand side doesn't matter so much, just the crane. Just the lose a call-in, toss salad, and scrambled eggs over on the right hand side.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how Jexrock's going to have to tackle that Magimaster. The cranes will give him no problem as well. However, Poltergeist and Magimaster are arguably the two toughest bosses you can come across in the game, and to have them in the tower when your party is compromised because it's split can be a wall to a lot of runners based on their setup.
Yeah, and depending on who Jex sent over there and what capabilities they have, this could end up being advantage Nobody War. We're just going to have to watch and find out.
All right, party reformed. We'll do a little bit more walking to get back up there. Meanwhile, we are entering the fourth quarter. Actually, final whistle has blown. This Poltergeist is down for Jexrocks.
That's great news for Jex. Probably, Welk is probably not going to give him any trouble. Cranes are probably not going to give him any trouble. But a lot of how the rest of this seed is going to go is hinging entirely on that Magi Master. Picking up the meme chest, it's an iron helmet. Helmet helps.
It doesn't hurt. All right, well, we got a moment while we see a fight. We know that's going to go in Jexrocks' favor. And Nobody War traverses Kefka's tower. Doctor, do you mind if I ask you a medical question as a medical professional?
You are welcome to ask me a medical question, although I do not claim to be a medical professional.
Well, I'll ask away. If I swallow a watermelon seed, what is the gestation period before that watermelon could possibly grow inside me?
So, I think watermelon seeds have a gestation period of something in, a couple of weeks. If it doesn't, 2 to 3 weeks, I suggest eating another one, just to, give it another try.
Gotcha. I will follow up in 2 weeks, sir.
Well, it goes down, and we are about to see the main event here.
Yeah, Nobody War has the advantage of knowing cherry picking his party for this tough fight. However, Jexrock's going to be completely blindsided by it. And we don't know what the party that he's put over there because only this middle lane has taken on the three fights that they have to take to get up here. There's only one fight for both of the side lanes, which we'll soon see. But yeah, this is one of those things where sometimes even knowing everything in the game with Magimaster in front of you, just he's just a wall. He's just like a
So if he had Celeste over there, Sword Tech 7 would have done the job, or Sword Tech 6. He's got Setzer, so he's got the fixed dice because he did buy those. So the fixed dice are good, and Umaro's good if he can body slam. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah. We do at least have some elemental absorption with the snow muffler, assuming it hasn't been stripped away. And I don't think it has. No, it hasn't. Plus, he has some other stuff going on. So if you can absorb or negate elements, you can waste some of Magimaster's turns.
He is looking for Berserk. He does not have Berserk, so he's gonna jump with those fixed dice and create a RN Jesus to get some good dice rolls here. Umaru doing his job absorbing some lightning.
We do have access to Reflect, so you can cast Reflect. We've already triggered the wall chains, so he can't damage himself with spells. However, you can ease the stress of the fight by putting Reflect, because Magic Master will target himself, and well, most of his spells won't target you if they're targeting himself, so it just kind of, eases the burden of him throwing random spells at you.
Yeah. So the game here is, man, Magi Master just loves lightning, and lightning is just the wrong choice here.
Yeah. We are reaching the point in the script, though, where we'll get some creative things coming at us, not just lightning and ice spells. But yeah, um, this is also one
In
of
this
those
game,
normalizing.
it's body slams and hoping for a good fixed dice roll. As long as Setzer's in the air when Doom comes out, then he's probably gonna get through here.
Yeah, this is also where that normalizing distort could get interesting, but nope, we are safely through. That's
Yeah,
huge.
couple of good fixed dice rolls is all it took. We saw an 8K, we saw a 4K, we had a couple of body slams for 3K each. That's enough. That's all it takes.
Technically, Jexrox is back in the lead in the race because Nobody War is still one boss fight behind him. They both have he has two to go, one to go for Jexy.
That's right, except that Nobody War has definitely outclassed Jexfro. And he rolls trip ones on his first roll with a fixed dice. That kind of hurts. But he is far ahead on levels. And so it is definitely not outside of the realm of possibility that he's going to be able to speed through here just because of his power.
All right, so looking ahead, excuse me, looking ahead, where normalizing distort tends to rear its ugly head the most is the final fight. One of the nice things about the final fight is it's mostly vanilla in most flag sets, so you know what to expect. You know the HP totals, you know the order of operations you need to take, and you know what can be thrown at you. However, in normalize and distort, throw all of that out the window. Close the window, close the blinds. You'll never see it again because a lot of the stats that can get shuffled, especially the HC totals, really just throw the expected behavior out the window. And it could be really an unpredictable ride. Nobody's War stream will soon will be back in just another moment after this ad for him concludes. But yeah, especially it kind of rears its ugliest head most on tier 3 because it's a tricky fight alone when you know the HP totals, but when you throw the HP totals out the window, it gets really awkward sometimes. Another thing too with the medial phase is I think sleep has like single digit magics. If not, it's really low, and that's the kind of like keep the medial spell at a certain respectable survivable range. However, in normalize and distort, there's almost no chance. I think it actually can't even roll that low to his vanilla total. So Medio Merton on that tier are going to do way more damage than what you're used to doing. And then sometimes, it's really hard to just flat out survive that. However, where it's going to benefit Nobody War so much here is those huge boon and those huge difference in levels. As you can see, we had 7,000, 6,000 HP on one side, 4,200, 3,700 the other, whereas Jexbox's levels are more in line with the normal Worlds Collide seed. That tier 3 is going to be a huge deciding factor here coming up.
Yeah, Jex is even having a little bit of trouble getting through these cranes. We have...
Oh, Desperation.
Yeah, Desperation Attack from Realm. One of the few Desperation attacks that does not actually do damage. So not terribly helpful. Meanwhile, Terra picked up a Ragnarok somewhere, and we are virtually tied going into the final boss.
That we are. The final gauntlet is all 4 tiers. All 4 tiers have their vanilla parts, but again, with that normalize and distort, we're getting shuffled HP totals, same spells, but different spell powers. So your guess is as good as ours as how that one's going to play out.
And Jex is technically first, 137.40 onto the switches. Nobody were doing a little bit of shuffling here, putting on a force armor, and checking out the rest of the parties, just making sure everybody's updated.
Nothing wrong with making sure the defense and everything is in the right spot because once you get off the screen, you can't get back to it.
That's true. And with that menuing, he is coming in onto the switches about 40 seconds behind Jex Vrock going into the final battle. 40 seconds. Differentiating our two runners here. With the randomized world map and the randomized checks and the randomized character placements, and within 40 seconds, they come into the end here, neck and neck. This is a real testament to just how good these runners are.
Yeah, we took very different paths to get here, and at some point in time, those paths intertwined a little bit. However, it's all led to this moment, and let's see how much those levels pay off in the end for Nobody War.
So Jex gets a unlucky roll on Raiden there. Raiden's a pretty high percentage attack instant death, but it misses the right arm. So right arm did not go down to a single hit. And we do not have Sword Tech 8 unlocked, so we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to take the long arm out the old-fashioned way.
Those Sword Tech 6 were, doing quite a bit of damage on their own, so it's not the worst thing if instant death misses on tier 1. You have access to AoE because you can just, throw out your AoE that you might have thrown out anyways to hit the head and the arm, the short arm, and then when it gets, the fourth quarter, the end game portion of the tier 1 fight, then you can just kind of hone in on your damage a turn or two and go about that way. Where it gets more awkward when your instant death cannot connect is on tier 2, because the longer you stand there trying to connect it, the more the various parts fire away at you, and the more you let them fire away at you, the more risk you are risking of them doing something really, really awful to you.
Yeah. Also, a bit of an rarely exhibited elemental weakness here. Long arm is weak to wind, which Sabin is throwing out with his air blade. So that long arm is going to go down faster than the rest of him. But Nobody War already through tier 1 and onto tier 2.
Very nicely done. Do you know what element the short arm is weak to, Doctor?
Oof. Water? Is it water?
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, indeed.
I look forward to my reward in the mail for completing your trivia quiz.
Yeah, it's like how do you settle that the long arm is weak to wind and the left short arm is weak to water? It's a interesting question, but that's how the cookie crumbled. Ooh, that is Yamaru gets such a bad rap, but he just on his own procced instant death on the right part with the wing edge.
Wow.
That is amazing. A beautiful sight to see. Literally just mentioned how important instant death on tier 2 and getting it to connect in the right spot is, and then Yamaru must be listening to the stream.
Yeah. You were
in.
saying you were defending Umaru as being the best support mage, and here he's showing it off.
Yeah.
Bog is a beast with that double VK, throwing out almost quad 9s on each of the swings. Very impressive.
Jexy is through his tier 1, but we're pretty much about to put a bow on this tier 2 on the right side of the screen because Mog is single-handedly eliminate pieces of the tiers with one quick turn, plus Yamaru taking up the mantle of instant death for us. This tier was not for long for Nobody War.
Yeah, Nobody was really showing off the virtue of those 2 experience eggs he got. Those extra levels just mean more damage at the end of the game, and that here is really where that pays out in spades.
All right, I think this is the death animation. If not, it's the preview to the real death animation because only the left side of the screen is left. But nope, that was the real thing. We are on to tier 3.
So tier 3, we've got the girl in the back, who is named Girl? Or Lady? Is it Girl?
It's both.
It's both. Okay. And we've got the guy in front named Sleep or Rest. The girl typically has exactly 99,999 hit points. With Normalize and Distort, that might change a bit. You just still want to bring her down first because she does Whirlwind, as shown here. She's the support mage, and as we all know, you want to shoot the support mage first. So Mog is going to get off a couple of VK swings that ought to do it, and she's down. And now Sleep has a death counter, which is Calmness. Calmness can take down. It's an instant death, physical instant death move that can attack either 1 or 2 of your characters. The blink status that they've put on here with Fenrir protects against 1 strike of Calmness because it is a physical attack. So we'll see if with the Normalize and Distort, Mog has enough to get through, and he does.
It's hard to tell with Lady because he did 20,000 damage in 1 turn if she rolled up or down her HP, but I think Sleep rolled under 40,000.
Yeah.
Based on what I saw, which is incredibly fortunate because it's awkward because he can roll over 50,000 and normally he has 40,000, but I don't think it would have mattered much because again we're seeing those levels pay dividends. This is a scary boss, normalizing the sort scary part of the seed, but Nobody's War's amazing levels, making a joke out of it.
Yeah, and being able to skip that Meteo phase, especially with Normalize and Distort, those Meteos, as you were saying at the beginning here, at the beginning of the boss, they can hit extremely, extremely hard. So it's a real benefit to having those levels and having those VKs to be able to skip it entirely.
Yeah, for tier 4, we want to do 50% of Kefka's total HP. What that is today, we won't ever truly know. However, Kefka also benefits from the Normalize and Distort that tier 3 also does, and that his magic tower is most likely to be boosted. So those Goners we usually see, if we end up eating one of those, they may do a lot more damage than what we're comfortable with, as will this Ultima. However, let's see the final total.
I mean,
ooh, that's a lot. Yeah.
Setzer just tanked a hyperdrive too. Like, these characters are totally buff and thick, and they have a huge amount of HP. I would be shocked if this Mog strike does not kill Kefka, and
Yeah.
Kefka is down.
GG's. Yeah, normally Ultima will do 2200-ish damage, but there it was doing 32 to 3400, so a near 50% damage boost. But Nobody War said, you know what? I don't care. I got a game to win.
And won it he did in style. Meanwhile, Jex is through tier 3, but he did lose Celeste to a Calmness. Celeste, who was doing a fair amount of damage with Quick and Sword Tech.
Yeah, so GG's Nobody War, who had just hopped into the chat with us. Nobody War, while Jex is in transition between his tiers. Congratulations, my friend. What went well for you in that seed?
I feel like it was just leaning into trying to get above scaling early. A couple of the Espers had some nice stat bonuses on them. And then when you find a VK in a character that can use it, yeah, plus the egg. That egg really like boosted Mog a lot. But yeah, it was slow and steady, kind of like how these go.
Yeah, it's, with the Espers only having 6 random characters, sorry, with the Relics only having 6 random characters that can use them, having Mog being able to use both the Genji Glove and the Experience Egg in order to boost those VKs was really a great find for you.
Yeah, I felt like that was like the key. Once that was online, I'm like, everything is going to be okay from here on out. Because I was already above scaling, and bosses weren't really too much of a challenge at that point. It just becomes the the good old dungeon crawl location hunt. I was almost positive I was going to be finding 9 characters. And then it's just like you take that one last screen, and yeah, it was that third dragon that you needed.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you did the double walk of Kefka's tower, and you made the very smart choice to peek what the 2 bosses were before you reformed your parties and came back. What were you feeling when you saw that Magi Master on the left-hand side?
I knew it was handled. You know what I mean? I knew I was going to be okay. But yeah, I always check.
All right, Jax is in the lovely phase where all of his characters has 1 HP. However, he's pretty safe because he knows Kefka's script like the back of his hand, so he knows when he is in danger, when he is not, and he is just pushing through until he sees the word Beyond Chaos on his screen. And that is not a plug for the other randomizer, that is a plug for Connor coming out. He does eat a hyperdrive, so he will be wrapping up his fight in just a moment, I'd imagine. Yeah, you'd mentioned getting those levels early. In this chaos seed, 26% bosses in the random encounters. Did that deter you at all from maybe trying to do all that grinding early, or was that in the back of your mind?
No. I mean, it was in the back of my mind definitely. And if you watched me play these before, that percentage doesn't mean a whole lot if you can find a safe area to grind in. Like kind of what I found at the beginning of the seed. That's my go-to spot. Like any chaos crawler, I like that location at the old man's house because, you can fight in the grass area, you can fight in the woods next to it, or you can pop right into that. It's a door. It takes you to another location and possibly like fight wherever that is. So it's really good, like early. Like it's the first thing I do in like any seed is just land the plane and take a fight. It was a little difficult. I got a good encounter, and we powered through that first one, and yeah, that's kind of all you need.
All right, so this Goner has been charging for quite a bit. I think Kefka may be broken because of all the quick cast.
Yeah.
However,
I think Jax, I don't know if this was intentional or if it was, then like hats off to him. But it can happen that Quick can break the Goner charge. I think maybe that is what he did here, and is just getting a ton of free air blades off.
yeah,
It
and
didn't
that's
break
huge.
that ultimate charge.
Yeah, no, because that ultimate did an
that.
extra 1,000 damage, right? So that Goner is going to hurt, but we'll never know how much it would hurt because Jexwax is done. Jexwax, GG's in chat. 150
GG's.
and some change for Jexwax. Hey, speak of the devil.
Hi.
Good morning.
Oof,
Extra
that was
1,000
scary.
damage, right? So that Goner is going to hurt, but we'll never know how much it
Elaborate,
would hurt
Elaborate.
because
That ending
Jexwax
was
is
pretty
done.
rough for you.
Jexwax,
we were
GG.
wondering here, watching you, was that an intentional quick break of the Goner charge, or was that chance?
That was dumb luck that I actually got the quick lock. That was totally dumb luck. And seeing that I got it going, I kept with it just to because if Goner hit, I was dead. No ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Well, congratulations. I was perfectly willing to chalk it up to your skill and knowledge of the game. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so what did you think of that seed overall, Jex?
I noticed normalize and distort kicking in when I fought Dataluma. That's when I felt the normalize and
Dataluma
distort.
fight. That was a pretty rough Dataluma fight for you.
Yeah, seeing that I left with it with one character at 11 health, yes.
He went through almost the whole script. He called his guys. He was throwing knives at you. We don't often see that, but Dataluma does have one of the
He
more
did.
complicated scripts in the game.
He did 2 rounds of double knives.
They were for sale.
Yeah, it was. Whew, some of those fights were. The early game was scary, and then the late game had me scared. Like when I ran into Magi Master, I'm like, uh-oh, this could be problematic. And then with the Magi Master fight, I got in a solid attack loop that more or less locked Magi Master, and he kept using Bolt on a Yeti who had a Thunder Shield. So Yeti would hit him, he would recharge, or no, what was it? What was the cycle that I had going? It was land a jump, he would recharge, get the jump up again. Yeti would hit him. Magi Master changes his immunities. Setzer lands. He resets the immunities again, and by the time that happened, the recharge filled out, so Setzer would jump up again and just kept the cycle going. I'm glad I bought those fixed dice too.
Yeah, those fixed dice were really paying dividends for you. So I think Nobody War also found them in Nikea. Although he had Nobody War, we were wondering if you were going to remember to buy them again after you took that wipe.
Yeah, that's one of the that's something I was just thinking about while you guys were talking. It was a long time until I found a shop. At least it felt like it to me. Um I always like checked the airship right away too. There was dried meat there. Got sidetracked, found cyan, and then just went back to my normal pattern of like going counterclockwise around the map. And it just felt like it took me a while. And I think the first town I found was that South Figaro. It was the Mount Colt spot. And I didn't run through everything right away. I just got the box or got the stuff downstairs and pieced out. I went back because I wanted to check was on the other side, and it went right into what's the town over there? Setzer's town. And
Engine.
yeah. And then that was the Valiant knife, the second one for Mog. Um I did get sidetracked after that, but when I came back and finally like took the boat, uh, you get to Nikea and then you got 2 exits there. Got wrecked by Doomgaze that first time, but I remember to the right side, uh, or it was in that town that it was. So yeah, I definitely like remembered that it was there and was positive I was gonna pick it up. You know what I mean? When I got back through there.
So what did
A
you
lot
do
of
for
resetting,
grind?
saving. Yeah. Oh, I did my normal thing. I just found a safe spot.
My initial grind fight was, of all things, Orog or Orog, however you say it.
Yeah, that's rough, unless you have a stack of revivifies.
Phoenix Downs, they got the job
Oh,
done.
that works too. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, that works.
Well, it gets the
Yeah,
job done if you don't get hit by 3 zombites in a row on your 3 different characters.
Yeah, that's a
that
good
was my
point.
first round of it. Eating a party wipe to zombite. Uh, yeah, I eventually got to a point where, like, oh, look, it's Imperial Camp. I'm gonna just walk away and go to the next check. Oh yeah, Y remove was a huge help because I skipped engine room. I didn't bother.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. We were wondering about the choice to not do the engine room check. I guess at that point, because it could have been a character, right? Did you know it
No,
wasn't a character?
yes, because when you go to the spot where you have to jump over the turtle, um, the very bottom one, in vanilla, it shows Edgar, right there. So in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, it shows whatever your check is. If it's a merchant or a
That's
Moogle
right.
or an imp, it jumps over. You know it's either an Esper or a dead check. If it's a character, you know it's a character, which is why I skipped the engine room.
That's right. Yeah, so you can skip that entire sequence just because you know that it's not progression for you. And that's just one of many, many examples of the two of you, Jexrock and Nobody War, showcasing just how well you know this Chaos Crawler mode and all of the things that you can do with it. Definitely one of the most challenging modes of Worlds Collide. So thank you both very much for giving us such an excellent exhibition of your prowess in performing this incredibly difficult and very fun to watch challenge.
Yeah, the Kefka's tower climb was a little sketchy. That's for sure. Like I was not expecting to see Poltergeist or Magi Master, and yet there they were staring at me.
Yeah, that was a really wicked placement on the Poltergeist there. That is the last place that you want to see a difficult boss.
Yeah, stunner for the win on that one.
Oh man, you found a sword tech character?
Yeah, I found Celeste
Man,
with sword tech.
all I
So
did was hold A and press fight.
yeah, I was
Uh,
not that lucky. I had to figure out how the heck I'm gonna get through stuff. Uh,
GG's, Jax.
yeah, yeah, GG's. It was actually closer than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, same here.
Uh,
It always ends up being that way with us, I feel like.
yeah, usually it's a landslide win one way or the other, but not today.
You know, even with the Nobody War doing a double walk through the tower, you guys started the final Kefka battle 40 seconds apart from each other. So it came together and it was a very close race at the end.
Did we time it? Did we time the final fight? Because I know tier 1 and tier 2 felt really fast for me.
That's where you got
I'll
me.
have to go
Tier
back and
1 and
look.
2, I believe.
Yeah, because Jex got into the final fight 40 seconds before Nobody War, but then
Oh,
Nobody War had like 10 extra levels on your damage dealing characters, and that made a pretty big difference.
Yeah, do you find EXP eggs or something?
yes, he did.
Uh,
2 of them.
there it is. EXP eggs for the win. All right. Well, it's getting late, so if you don't mind if I do, you guys care if I do the spiel?
I
Please
prefer
do.
it. It's mandated.
Excellent. Anybody here that is new to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide and would love to learn this wonderful randomizer, please join us in our Discord. There's a link to the Discord in ff6worldscollide.com. We got a wonderful community, Moogle mentorship to learn the randomizer. Also, please give our runners and our restream team a follow. And GG's, thanks for tuning in.